Hey, I'm in the news. So yeah, this month an insane and massive scandal has gripped the wargame hobby, as something that has been rumbling away in the background for a while now has finally spilled out and hit mainline Warhammer and wargame news, as things have escalated extremely far. See, it turns out that a massive part of the whole wargame hobby thing, that is the building, painting, and playing of Warhammer or any wargame miniatures, is that second one, you know, the painting bit. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that might just be over. And now the Warhammer and wargame community is rightfully outraged. And as a result, influencers and content creators and wargame and Warhammer YouTubers are on the march in lockstep to support an unlikely cause. And this time, it's not even Games Workshop's fault. Yay! I'm sure Reddit will be happy about that one, because there is another huge hobby company in wargaming that produces a whole ton of hobby products, and they're mostly known for their paints. In fact, they're famously one of the best paint manufacturers for wargame miniatures in the entire hobby. And unlike Games Workshop and the Citadel paint pots that they design, these ones are in these handy little paint dropper bottles, so it means that they don't spill everywhere if you tip them over, and they also don't get all crusty and dried out if you have the temerity to leave them open for like 10 seconds. Sorry about that. That's not related to the story at all, but seriously though, why are Games Workshop paint pots like that? Why are they so shit? Why do they do that? There has been so much non-oil spilled in vain, and then you have to go down to the store and buy a whole new one. Okay, I see now. Basically a scam. But in this instance, the hobby company in question is Vallejo. And this sucks, especially because Vallejo are actually my favorite paint brand. They produce some of my favorite non-contrast paints in the whole wide world. I have a whole bunch of them on my desk right in front of me right now. And I don't know if it's because they're called Vallejo and that sounds like super fancy, but I've always just really liked the brand. And I think lots of people agree with me there, because they are one of the biggest hobby companies in the entire wargame hobby, which was why I was so disappointed to learn that the company has just fallen into a massive crisis, and a crazy scandal is now totally rocking it, one that I never expected, but which has even begun attracting international headlines, and now it's about to get a whole lot worse. So, if you don't know them, Vallejo are a major paint manufacturer based in Spain. Oh, speaking of Spain, it is April 1805. Napoleon is master of Europe. Only the British fleet stands before him. Oceans are now battlefields. Prepare to live your Master and Commander fantasy finally, because this January, Firelock Games are bringing the Ocean Battlefield to your table. This is Blood and Bayonets. Based on the critically acclaimed pirate wargame Blood and Plunder, Blood and Bayonets brings you to the peninsular campaign of the Napoleonic Wars. That's the one in Spain. And the game takes place both on land and sea. That's right, you can play on both. I was not kidding when I said oceans are now battlefields. I really meant it. And even better, this is not a zoomed out experience. Instead, you'll get to command entire armies of beautifully sculpted 28mm soldiers, cavalry, and artillery, and entire fleets of true scale ships like sloops, gunboats, tartanas, and more. And even better, you command the actual crew on the boats. You control the little men on there, and they can get shot at and stabbed, and you'll have to man the cannons and have the crew pull anchor and seal the ships, all while trying to line up your own cannon shots. Hell, you can board enemy ships and get the fighting mano a mano, or fight amphibious battles, storm a port with your bayonets, or defend a coastal fortress with cannon against an enemy fleet. Does that not get your heart racing? Well, put down the 4 o'clock and turn 2, Jack. Blood and Bayonets will have rules for a whole host of different forces, from the British Army and Navy to Spanish guerrillas to, of course, the dreaded French under Napoleon. And to my delight, there's even the plucky Irish too. Just, you know, watch your purses if you're a 19th century bigot. Blood and Bayonets will be available to back on Kickstarter in January, but you can click my link below to get updates on the upcoming campaign. Check it out and live your Master and Commander fantasy. Because remember, one must always choose the lesser of two evils. Okay, so if you have recently typed Vallejo into Reddit, then you might might have been shocked to discover that, well, firstly, there's a lot of Bay Area swingers out there. And I mean a lot of Bay Area swingers. But also, almost the entire company of the major paint brand are on strike. Yep, they're on strike now. And this has shut down production of, if not the biggest, then like the second or third biggest wargame and hobby company in existence of the entire wargame hobby. So what the hell is going on? Well, it turns out that the factory where all the Vallejo paints are made is basically the Willy Wonka factory. Not in terms of the chocolates and whimsy, but more in terms of the dangerous workplace accidents and health code violations. Probably children getting sucked into the TV, I don't know about that one. Because the people who actually work at Vallejo have made some extremely intense allegations about the company this month, and now they're all on strike. Well, 99% of them are on strike, and bad news, it's the 99% that actually do stuff. So what are the allegations? Well, they are extremely serious, actually. I should probably stop making jokes. Firstly, all the machines that power the factory and are used by the workers there to actually make the paint are in disrepair. They're out of date and they're damaged and apparently held together by flanges, whatever they are. But things aren't good. They need to be fixed and they're dangerous to operate with. And the management right now aren't fixing them. And as someone whose granddad once got his hand trapped in machinery at a conveyor belt and then suffered multiple heart attacks when ambulance workers finally got him out, I like machines to be safe, please, and workers to not lose hands. That's a true story, by the way, not a comedy bit. And to make that even worse, employees at Vallejo allegedly aren't even getting paid when sick, which isn't good. Even I pay my editor Glenn when he catches bubonic plague from the rats I make him eat. Come on, have a heart, people. But also, a big demand from the employees is safety. Pop quiz. Do you know what separates indoors from outdoors? That's right, it's Janus, the great god of doors, gates, and transitions. But also, roofs. Do you know what the Vallejo factory doesn't have? Oh, you guessed it right. A roof. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but this factory is in Spain. Why would you even need a roof in Spain? Isn't it always lovely over there? Well, contrary to popular belief, it does actually rain in Spain, even if it does, according to my sources, fall mainly on the plain. And I'm gonna be honest, this isn't like the Vallejo employees asking for something fantastical like a robot butler or something. This is like a roof. They need a roof, please. One that works and isn't allowing for, and I'm quoting here, flooding parts of the factory. This feels like a very bare minimum request, you guys. And as someone in Ireland where historically landlords used to remove the roofs of tenant farmers, I'm sympathetic to the lack of a roof. But perhaps even worse and most serious of all are the allegations of harassment that are apparently being committed against employees, including, quote, persecution in the bathroom, which, if you're gonna have persecution, you really don't want to have it in the bathroom. And of course, workers are also demanding a 15% increase in wages, which feels very reasonable to me, especially considering the profits for Vallejo have skyrocketed ever since COVID. In fact, their company is making so much money that in 2023, the supervillain group Proa Capital bought 70% of the company shares for 50 million euros. And, surprise, surprise, they are also the reason that all these problems have gone unresolved, because even though the profits keep going up, staff wages are remaining the same, and the conditions at the company have gotten way worse. Did I mention the roof doesn't work? And this all feels like a very familiar story, honestly, for many workers out there, I'm sure. And not to sound like a gene stealer cultist or something, but maybe that should be condemned a little, and maybe things should get some redress. While we're talking about Vallejo here, they're not the only company in the wargame hobby to be treating their workers like dogs. Famously, we've seen the same thing from Games Workshop and even Hasbro. There is a trend going on here, and we need to stand up to it as consumers, as a hobby community. It's what this channel has always been about, standing together. Now, this news has started to filter out into the wider wargame and Warhammer sphere, and a ton of influencers and content creators are now covering it. Hellstorm Mikey sort of broke the story on YouTube. There's a link to his video below. He also has the links to where you can donate to the strikers to help them keep going. But now other content creators like Goobertown Hobbies have been sending emails to management of Vallejo trying to get answers. Polygon has covered it, and I guess I'm covering it now, which was mentioned by a Spanish newspaper, huh? How about that? Yes, Dungeons and Discourse is me, Discourse Minis. If you didn't know, I have an RPG channel too. Go check it out and subscribe. But I hope this all gets resolved soon, because it is really damaging Vallejo's brand. It's really terminal for those guys. And I wasn't kidding when I said that I really like Vallejo paints. I really don't want them to go down the shitter here. This really sucks. But the more people that talk about this, the more damage that is done to their brand, and as a result, the more pressure is put on the management to come to the table and actually talk to the staff about fixing all these problems. Hopefully very soon. Now, the striking workers have asked the hobby community to boycott Vallejo products while the strike is ongoing, according to Hellstorm Mikey. So to support the workers, I will be drinking all my existing Vallejo paints right now. Wait. Is paint a bit like resin? Are you meant to not drink it? Okay, maybe I'll just not buy anymore. But hopefully this video reaches you and you let your friends know. Vallejo is a no-no until they talk with their employees and get this whole thing sorted out amicably. Because some of these allegations, they're pretty wild, you guys. So, you know, fix the roof. Just fix the roof, dude. But it goes without saying, this is a developing story, so I will cover it when we get future updates. And if you want to support them, there is a link below. You can also support my channel on Patreon at patreon.com/discourse miniatures, or simply subscribe to more. And a massive thanks to my patrons, especially CryptoKev, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye.